This episode is powered by Poddex.
Hey guys, welcome to Connect with Katie. I'm so glad that you can join me. I just wanted to let you know the program that I use for my awesome podcast. It's called Anchor. This program is free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone and your computer. Also, Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. Also, you can make money with no minimum listenership. Best thing is everything you need to make a podcast all in one place.
It's about, but it's the branch that has the Surgeon General. And I've worked in the office of two secretaries. I've traveled the world. I've gone to China. I've worked for a U.S. senator. And I retired about 5 years ago. And so what I wanted to do when I got out of the military and I wanted to start a business, I found out that a lot of people didn't know how to connect the dots. And for those where that information was available, it was very expensive. And so I said, how can I scale this down so that everyday people, and that's sort of my theme, Sly Stone song, how can everyday people have access to the same information,
right?
So they can start their businesses, they can get good consultation, and then they can also learn how to protect their assets. Now, what I'm doing currently, I turned 65 this year, and I have two children that are grown and two grandchildren, an 8-year-old, he's now 9, granddaughter. And the reason when I retired from the military out of the D.C., Virginia area, I moved to Jacksonville. My daughter was in the military and stationed here in Jacksonville. And I came here because my grandson was 2 years old then, and I had to come to spoil my grandson.
Of course.
So that's the thing that got me into Jacksonville. Yeah. So working with my business, and then someone said to me, my cousin, Gerald Mays, shout out to Gerald and Joanne Mays, said, do you know anything about trust? And I said, well, just I've kind of heard. And then once I got more into it, because most of us are familiar with how to do a will.
Right.
And we heard about a simple trust. But one of the things we were not doing, everyday people, is that we were not setting up the complex trust like the Rockefellers and Bill and Melinda Gates and some of the others, the Chase. They have set up complex trust. Do you know that's still generating income hundreds of years later? Wow. And so I had that light bulb moment. I'm saying, wait a minute. If Jeff Bezos can do it, I do it for my grandkids, my little Walmart money. And so an additional aspect was added to my business, and I'll go ahead and let you ask a question, and then I can get more into Be Connected and what we do. But that's how I got started, and that's sort of my background. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, why Be Connected? Because it's spelled B-E, right? Like a bee, Be Connected. Yeah. So why that?
Yeah. No bumblebees. Well, because I grew up in a little girl in the segregated South. I came from integration through segregation, desegregation and integration. And I went on to have a successful career. And all along the way, even with what we're seeing now with this racial unrest, I had to face that, 55 years of my career. And I was not supposed to succeed. I grew up in a little town, like I said, in rural segregated South. And just like the bee, that became my symbol because the bee defies aviation laws, defies gravity, and is not supposed to succeed. So my logo is a B, B-E-E, because we as everyday people, I want to be able to share tips through Be Connected, which is connect people with, the resources to be successful. So that's why it's Be Connected. And then my website is Be Connected Life, because that's what you want.
Right. I love that. That's beautiful. That is very beautiful. I love that. And tell us a little bit more about your background. You're a mom and you're a grandmother.
I'm a mom and a grandmother, and setting up the complex trust is really near and dear to me because I wanted to make sure that my grandkids had, funding if something happens to me,
Of
and
course.
that money would be there so that they could go to college, start a business, get a house. And I know everybody listening, that's what we desire for our
Of course.
kids, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And so, because I tease my daughter and my son, who are 30 and 33, I say, and they know I say this now, if
Yeah.
something happens to me, they will not be at the Nissan dealership. They will be at the Bugatti
Yeah, right, of course. The
dealership.
fancy luxury cars.
One check, and
Yeah.
there goes everything. And so the complex trust, like I said, my cousins who introduced it to me,
Yeah.
and I really solves the problem of everybody. And we've scaled it to a point where everybody can afford to do it. So
Amazing.
yeah.
Well, and that's really important right now is the affordability of everything, especially with the pandemic and COVID and everything going on. That's extremely, extremely important. So that's beneficial, for everybody. Yeah.
And during my career, let me just say this, during my career, because people going, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not trying to sell any kind of products or anything. But during my career, between the federal government and the military, I was responsible for over $1.5 billion. That's billion with a B, of grants, contracts,
Wow.
agreement. So I know a little bit about money,
A little bit.
and about working with companies.
Yeah.
And so that's all I want to do is just pass this information on, because if you're going to look at your future and make your own self financially sound, I can't teach you everything. I can show you how to fish and how to get information, but you can't be spoon fed. You've got to say,
Exactly.
not watch Wheel of Fortune and I need to go read 30 minutes, So that's what we're here to do with.
Yeah.
That's my favorite show.
No, exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
And it's for people that are ready to learn and, and be able to take maybe a next step in their career or something like that, or maybe they're feeling stuck. I know there's a lot of people out here that are feeling, they're feeling pretty stuck because just of all the changes in the online, and you're like, oh, here you go. Let's just work from home and just know how to use a computer and the internet and everything. Right. So what kind of services, I know in Be Connected, you guys kind of help with that, right? So what services do you guys provide, or do you provide?
Well, the B also stands for Business Education and Enterprise Resources.
Nice.
So if I don't know it in my team, we know somebody who knows it.
Right, exactly. I'll get you connected.
Right. And
Yes.
what I found as I got out here, and I'm sure, Katie, you've come into it, people will say, oh, I have a business. And then you find out they haven't even filed the first forms to have a business. They may have got an EIN number, and they're out here doing things saying they're a nonprofit, and they're getting in trouble because they haven't done all the paperwork. So our company will take you, depending on where you are, from helping you and directing you on how to properly structure yourself. And I'll get into that with the 4 keys to wealth is put yourself in the correct tax position. That's the first key to wealth. We do everything from helping you make sure you have your LLC papers filed correctly with the state, that you have your 501c3 paperwork filed with the IRS, all the way up to having a private trust foundation that's registered with the IRS. So we do the whole spectrum.
Oh, yeah. With your background and all the experience that you have, I mean, you really know like the nitty gritty, you know what I mean? All the paperwork you need to know. So how does your company, how do you really connect people with those services? Like, how are you able to?
Well, the first thing for the complex trust. So let me talk about the 4 keys to wealth. So right now our emphasis on the 4 keys to wealth, which is getting people to protect their assets and structure their family legacy. This COVID, this is why I kind of switched my focus, is because everybody's thinking that we spend so much time with our family and thought about our own destiny, that our emphasis now is on helping families to protect their assets and structure their family legacy. So the way we do that is through the 4 keys of wealth, which is we educate people on those 4 keys. And to everyone listening, Katie's going to share. And if you go to our website, beconnectedlife.com,
Yes.
You can set up a free 1-hour consultation, and we'll talk to you about your situation and how to get you set up and what resources are available to you and what you need to move to that next level.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. And are there, do you work with like specific people, or do you just kind of have everybody from every sort of business coming and consulting with you?
Right. We have those that we have curated, I guess you would say, depending on what you need. And I'm very cautious.
Yeah.
I will suggest to you what you need, and then usually you can either do it yourself or choose from a variety of resources, or we have some consultants that you can use. But those who we have on, I'm very particular about their price point, because I want this to be affordable. I want this to be able to pay for this with a couple of trips to Walmart and Dollar Tree. And you know what I'm talking about. You go to Dollar Tree for some paper plates, and you come out $70 later. Now, it costs more than $70, let me say it. But,
oh, yeah, of course.
So when we get in, when you make your appointment for the 4 keys to wealth, let me say this. Let me throw this first key out.
Yeah.
Most of us, the first key is making sure you're structured properly. Most of us have worked all our lives and we follow 1040. You, Katie, heard about the 1041?
No, I have not, of course.
And I haven't either. My company helps you people to understand a complex trust.
Okay.
With a complex trust, you file the 1041, which is why you never see certain people income tax, because that information, when you set up a private trust, a complex trust, it's private. It's what you put in it and what you know, and it's between you and the IRS when you file your taxes. So I don't have a get rich scheme. I don't have you don't have to pay taxes. Let me be very clear. Everyone has to pay taxes on everything.
Yes. Cannot get away from that.
But the correct terminology that we educate you about is you want to reduce your tax liability so you, like Amazon, will pay zero. Okay? You want to lesson learn, reduce your tax liability. So we show you how to, one, set up yourself in the correct tax position, because most of us are just working and paying the 1040 and doing 1040 and paying our taxes. The next key is how to protect your wealth. We are taught to own. We're taught to go out here, buy a house, car, another car, boats, all this stuff.
Yes.
Ownership follows title. Liability follows ownership. Rockefeller said, own nothing but control everything. So if you look up with Nelson Rockefeller and how they tried to break up Standard Oil, and after 4 years, they finally broke up Standard Oil, and he said, okay. And then he put himself as a trustee on the board of all those 30 plus companies who are you're still getting gas from Rockefeller's companies when you go to the gas pump, and his family's still earning money. They own nothing, but they controlled as a trustee. So when you set up a complex trust, Kate, if you set it up, you're the trustee. You control everything in that trust. If somebody sue Katie Connect business or Katie, I don't own anything. Well, you have a trust. I don't own the trust. The trust has its own EIN number. What's in the trust is not disclosed to the public. Did you do that? So Katie owns nothing. But Katie has her house. The trust owns a house that they're letting Katie live in.
Okay.
Owns the car that Katie's driving. In the case of the Gates, the trust owns the airplanes that he has, et cetera, et cetera.
So really, it's all about that trust, is what you're saying, is making sure your assets are in that trust. Okay.
And the trust cannot be sued because your Social Security number is not on that trust. That trust has its own EIN number.
Right. I did not know that. And I think there's a lot of people out there that don't know that.
Right. So if they come out after Katie or Katie Connect and the lawyer goes after the Social Security and the only amount, we teach people this, if Katie Connect is a business, for example, you keep enough money in your business account to cover your expenses, and your income goes to your trust.
Wow.
So if they come after you, you have no money sitting in your LLC. Katie Connect doesn't own anything. We don't have any assets. Oh, well.
Wow.
And it's moved to you. And this is all legal. Of
course. I mean, the trust is legal. You're allowed to have a trust. So if whatever's in it, it's mine.
Download the 1041 and the instructions.
Wow.
And it's a one-page form that you file every year. So you still have a tax consequence. But we show you how to set up a series of interrelated trusts where you move your money. So the third key is getting your wealth to work for you. Money in motion makes money.
Yeah, of course.
Again, we've been taught, take our money, go to the bank, let it sit there, try to earn 0.1% if you're lucky.
Yep, that's exactly.
If you want to buy a house or a car or something. They won't loan you.
Right.
Make you a loan. And then if you want to get your money out, you got to give them a 3-day advance notice, get your money out. Wow. So money in motion. So we show you how to keep your money in motion through a variety of instruments, such as an endowment. Now, usually you think of endowments like Harvard and Yale, these big schools, but you could go right to your church, the YMCA, and say, listen, I want to give you $5,000. I want to give you $10,000. And then I want you to split the interest with me for life. And they'll go, okay, because they just got free money.
Wow.
And so your trust would be getting a check every month for life.
Wow.
The bank's not going to do that. The bank's going to give you your 0.1% and report it to the IRS, and then you'll have to pay taxes on it.
Wow.
The interest earned through your trust, putting it in an endowment, if the trust files its taxes, and because you're going to move any excess income to your other trust, you reduce your tax liability. So it's literally tax free.
Wow.
And I know I'm putting a lot out there right now because we have time crunch, but
no, I was going to say that's a very interesting one, because I think that third key right there, that's a pretty that's long term. That's a long term money that you're bringing in constantly, right?
That's right.
Yeah, that's
right.
I mean, I think people who are listening out here, I think you should get connected with Gail, because this is sounding like some pretty futuristic, game changer stuff here.
Yeah, we call it private family banking because that's what the bank does. The bank takes your little $100 and they put it with everybody else's money, and they invest it and they earn it 20-30%, and they're giving you 0.001% on it. But that's what they're doing. So you just take your own money and invest it and create your own terms. And so we show people how to do that. There are also insurance policies that most of us didn't know about. There are insurance policies that you buy, that you endow, rather than putting your money in the bank. And then you're earning interest on that insurance policy, and it retains its face value. So if you need a loan for a car or a house again, you borrow your own insurance policy and pay yourself back. You become it's called private family banking, or infinite banking, infinity banking. Infinite banking.
Infinite banking. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm still trying to understand it. So this is still tied to your trust? Like that? Okay. And then
one of the things your trust can do, which is tax deductible, is buy an insurance policy on you. If you buy an insurance policy now as an individual, it's not tax deductible.
Okay.
But as a trustee, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, and then you're talking about like a life insurance policy?
Right.
Okay.
Life and health, any type of policy. As the trustee, the trust is responsible for you as as the caregiver, 24/7. You're the caregiver 24/7 of the trust. As the trustee, the trust is responsible for your transportation, housing, well-being, education, etc. So there are things that can be paid for and covered out of your trust that's tax deductible 100%,
Right.
That's not tax deductible 100% to you as an individual.
Okay.
If you have kids and they go to college, they have to be educated. The trust can pay for your child's education.
Right. Exactly.
Say that. Yeah.
Wow. Well, I think everybody needs to be paying attention here to this.
No, they didn't tell us. Who knew? Because they wanted us to be worker bees.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. That's a good one. They wanted us all to be little worker bees doing the same thing, following the same rules, same instructions, and not falling off the path.
And it was designed that way from after the war against Britain. I have quotes in here where when they were trying to decide what the banking system would look like in the U.S. And have you seen Hamilton, the play, the Broadway play on Disney by chance?
No, I didn't. I have not.
In that play, George Washington, and there's between Hamilton and Jefferson, and there's this sort of rap argument about what the banking system should look like. And that's what they're discussing, is that where the people would have control, or where the United States government would have control of the banking system, and where the state should control. Because we may have heard states had their own money, but then we went to the centralized banking system. And so there are quotes that we teach you about where in the 1800s people said people will wake up in their own continent and find themselves homeless. And then I have another quote from Henry Ford when they were putting together this banking system, the Federal Reserve. He said, people really knew what was going on, there'd be a revolution tomorrow.
Wow.
They set up a two-tiered system. One of the books you should read is called The Creature from Jekyll Island.
This is a book?
Yes. And it's how certain wealthy men got together and created the Federal Reserve Bank.
Wow.
It's The Creature from Jekyll Island. They came right up here to South Carolina, North Carolina, had a meeting at a fancy resort, and decided our lives for us.
Wow. That's it. That was it.
Part 2 on this.
Yeah, I think so, because I have a lot of questions. We can spend a few hours on here, okay? No, but then that would just be giving away your free content, because I just try to get everything out of you.
So that was the third, getting your wealth. So let me ask you, before we go to fourth, let me see if you have any questions about everything I've tossed out at you.
Let's see here. Okay, so you said the first you want to do the trust, right? And then the second thing is you said, what was the second one? You said secure your wealth, right?
Well, what we do is we see where you are, because some people are ready for a private trust. Some people have businesses and they need a business trust first. So we see where you are. And then you set up a series of interrelated trusts. And depending upon your assets, and that's the thing I love about this, because people go, I'm just a W-2 wage earner. You more than anybody else, guys. If you're out there working, you need a trust to protect your assets. So we see where you are, and then we offer you some solutions. I don't work for any of these companies that do endowments. You may want to go to your church when we get to that point. Like I said, if you like the Boys and Girls Club, your local health care facility. So the first key is putting your wealth in the correct tax position.
That's right. Okay.
Protecting the wealth. We show you how to separate your business from your personal expenses. People start businesses all the time, and they write checks for their business out of their personal checking account.
Right.
Which means if you're ever sued, there's no distinction, and someone can come in and take everything you own. So we show you how to separate your personal and business wealth. Like we said, own nothing, control nothing. Then, depending upon your assets, the next step is, okay, now let's start. If you have 5,000 set somewhere, 10,000 setting in the bank, earning 0.111, some options for you. Okay. Yeah. So it's sort of sequential. It does you no good to go out and jump into an endowment right now if you don't have your car and your house and your home, your life insurance, your kids' education protected.
Well, I did want to talk about that Wisdom from Queens, the book that you had that just came out in August. So I don't know if you want to do the fourth tip, next, and then we can roll into that. Or if you want to do that first, and then we can.
Yeah, let's do the fourth tip because I'm almost through, because then people really can go and book their appointment. The fourth tip is producing generational wealth. So the reason we're doing this is that we want to leave something for our kids and grandkids, in my case. So we show you how, when you set up your trust, what terms to put in your trust. You can even put like a bloodline clause, which means when you set up your trust, only Katie's children and their children can ever be a trustee.
Okay.
Your son or daughter's wife could never be a trustee.
Right.
So we show you how to structure your trust so that it's always there just for your family, and we call it controlling your money, control it from the grave.
Okay. Right.
That's what the trust does, is that you set up and how to make your minute entries. If you have a new son or daughter, or grandson, how to make those changes. So that's the fourth tip. So there's a series of steps that we share you and educate you on. If you go to Be Connected Life, that's BEE Connected, CONNECTED, life, LIFE.com.
Okay. I'll put the link below too, so people can.
Okay, so we're going to add a link, and you book your free 1-hour consultation, and we'll talk with you. And once you work with us, and if you get a trust, complex trust, we provide 1 year of consultation. It's included. So we want to make sure, because after that first year of attending our trainings and calls, we used to meet quarterly in Dallas, and then we would meet in Cabo for advanced trustee training in Cabo, Mexico.
Oh, wow.
Every November. In fact, we would be going this weekend. But with the pandemic, we have not been traveling. And we are here. So if you say, hey, because when you first get your trust and you're first hearing this, and then you say, no, did they really say that?
Yeah.
At 3 in the morning, did I really hear what I heard?
Yeah.
So we're here for you that first year to train you and walk you through. We have CPAs who are specially trained in doing your books at the end of the year, because everybody's not familiar with this. When I would go to training, half the room would be CPAs and lawyers. Learning and getting trained in this so they could offer this to their clients. Because right now, even if you have a simple trust, say in California.
Right. Okay.
It's only good as statutory. So it's only good in California. So if you move to Texas or Florida, it's not valid. And so most of us would have had either a will, which only disperses your assets after you're dead, a simple trust, which does the same thing. It may have a clause to distribute some interest, which is taxable, by the way, if you do. And then it's not good if you move. But a complex trust, you control it now, control your assets now, and it's living, and it's recognized nationally and internationally. So you can move anywhere.
Anywhere, right. And with you mentioned something about, so you have the free consultation call, and then you said that after you kind of help them set up their trust and stuff, you do the free consultation, or you do the consultation for a year, right?
Well, yeah, we do the free consultation call is 1 hour.
Right.
Then if it's something you want to do, we continue to walk you through the process to help you get your trust. Some people need just one trust. I started out with just a private family trust because I wanted to put my property and my life insurance policies in that for my kids.
Right.
And some people at the point where they have a business trust. So the scenario is you have your business trust, family trust, and then a private family foundation. That's the four complete circle of products that we would work with you on. And so that's why the consultation is important. And then once you get your consultation and pay for your consultation, and we get all your trust documents set up and signed, we're around for a year to help you with everything you need for your trust.
Okay. So that's what you're just saying, that once you get everything established and your help and you got your trust established, those 4 areas, then that's when, if you need something, they can contact you for a year. Okay. That's what I was just trying
to come in and get one, because a lot of people come in and you just need one trust. So we're here for a year.
Right. Yeah, because like for example, somebody like me, like I don't have any, right? Which don't don't say anything bad, but I don't have any, but so I would be somebody that would be like, okay, where do I go? Where do I start? Which one do I start with? But
That's
like
why we do
obviously
the consultation.
exactly. So it'd be perfect for me to call and do the free consultation for an hour to see which one I should need to start with. So for anybody listening, that's what you should do. Do the free consultation so you can figure out what trust you need to begin with.
Whether you need the business first. If you had a tax liability last year with your LLC or your corporation, you need to do business trust first.
Yeah. So, definitely.
So that's why we do the conversation first with you to see just what your situation is.
Yeah. And that's awesome that you offer that, because usually it's only like 15, 30 minutes. So an hour is a good solid amount of time to get a good consultation.
Yeah, and it's really 2 calls. The first call, we allocate an hour because we do the pre-qualifying call, and then give people a chance to sleep on it. And we send them a then more detailed document to fill out, and then we follow up with another call.
Okay.
Because when I share this with people the first time, it's just too much. It's just
right.
We needed to give them time to digest what we shared.
No, it can be, because I mean, for somebody like me, I could ask you 1,000 questions, but because of the time limit. But yeah, I think it's the consultation call is definitely beneficial.
It's a couple of calls.
Yeah. So why don't you go ahead and get the Wisdom for Queens? That is this just released in August. So
right, you and I connected. We've been trying to get through COVID and get connected. So, in talking about everything that was going on with COVID, and I made the comment to someone that this is like deja vu. I've been here before, and this had to do with the racial unrest. And they said, "Well, what do you mean?" And I said, "Well, I lived through this before because I'm 65." And as I mentioned earlier, I grew up in the southern rural segregated South, where I remember blacks only signs. And when I got to 8th grade, was about to go to 9th grade to a segregated high school, it was in the 64. They had integrated. So I was bused to an all-white high school.
Wow.
So yeah. So, and this was living with the we were bused. So we were, called names and had to go through and excel in that environment. So in my chapter, the chapter Wisdom from Queens, Volume 3, 5 women, each year they select 5 women to write their story.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so this is the 3rd volume, and the theme was choices, challenges, and change. And when we started this, we did not realize in January when we started this how timely some of this would be, because there was a general discussion. We wasn't sure where the theme was going to go. And of course, they told us just start writing. And as we got into February, March, April, we saw, wait a minute. And so our theme's going to be, choices, challenges, and change. Because I go from rural segregated South to, integration and integration and having a career and having, traveled the world. And what I share in my chapter is how to take lemons and make lemonade. Now, I know everybody says that. But it wasn't easy. Sometimes the only woman, the only person of color in a room, making a presentation or discussing something. So how do you, go home and cry, but have the skin and the wisdom to get through it and to use that and to still try to reach your goal? Another chapter in the book is dreams deferred, because with COVID, a lot of people had to put their dreams on hold, their careers on hold, etc. Coming through it, another writer talks about how she wanted to be a pharmacist and how she kept getting stopped along the way. And so many of us have dreams and we'll start it and something happens and we have to stop and reset. And so many of us have had to pivot right now. And so again, this book, we had no idea how timely this book would be with the 5 of us sharing our story.
Wow.
And so it's Wisdom from Queens, Volume 3. If you're interested in getting the book, you go to Doc Gail, DOCGAIL, at docgail.com. It's DOCGAIL.com. Yes. Did I spell it?
I was going to say, that's what you sent me. I was just looking at make sure that's the link.
DOCGAIL.com.
Yes.
And there you can find the book. It's a great Christmas gift. If you, in your little memo, say you heard about it through Katie, I have special packaging. If you have a woman, aunt, sister, niece in your life, I have a special queen packaging. It has a beautiful black and gold cover, and then we give you a gold pin. I try to make it fancy.
Yeah.
Special bookmark for all our queens out there. So check the book out, and it has tips for men too. I did a Facebook post where I said men read books too.
Yeah.
Because, our men are also facing challenges as the provider with work and making sure how do they maneuver day to day in this world when there's a glass ceiling, when your dreams are deferred. So they have their personal journey and the journey of being a provider for their family. So I encourage men also to get to read it, and there are some tidbits in there for everyone of all ages. Young kids, don't always say what's on your mind. I mean, it's many a times. I'm sure we've all been in meetings and wanted to say what was on our minds.
Oh, of course.
But you have to think about, okay, who's going to bail me out of jail if I do what I'm thinking right now?
Right. Who am I going to call?
How's my mortgage going to get paid? So, they're in the military, with 21 years in the military, 26 years actually, win the battle, but lose the war. And so many times people will, get into this argument and say what's on their mind.
Right. Just
people remember that. And when it's time for that promotion or people picking people for their teams, while you're not getting a promotion or you're getting looked over or you're not successful, but because that's the persona that you've now put out there whenever something's said. Sometimes kind of sit back and say, and I'm getting into, talk to you after if a meeting goes and think, afterwards go to someone and say, hey, look, let me close the door. Let us have a conversation. Right. And people appreciate that.
No, they do. Because
a lot of times people say things and they don't realize the way it was taken by you, the way they said it, is not the way it was intended. Oh, by the way, I have a master's in social work too. In addition to all this,
I know you have. That's why I said you could talk for literally, I swear, 5 hours just about your background. You got it going on.
Those are the tidbits that are in there that the younger generation come along behind us can learn on how to maneuver. You might be thinking it, and I always tell people the bottled water trick. I always go to a meeting with a bottle of water. And that somebody said something, I'm thinking something, I put that bottle of water and say, I know they didn't just say what I think they said. And that gives you 10 seconds to think.
Right. That's so funny because I actually did. That was something that an ex-boss of mine actually, when I was working in the clinical field, she told me, she said, Katie, I know sometimes you want to say something. She's like, but just bring your coffee or your water in there and just take a drink.
Take a sip.
Because I was always one that would just be like, oh my gosh, please let me say something, I can't do it. But that's awesome. So, I mean, that's what prompted you to write the book, is because, the struggle. I mean, not everybody has definitely not gone what you've gone through. I mean, you have definitely, I don't know how you're not all over the place because of the success that you've had, you know what I mean? And the experiences that you had, and now you get to come and you get to tell people, about everything that you learned even years ago, and it can still be used right now,
relevant today.
Today. It's still relevant today. So,
right. Yeah, I credit growing up, and now one thing about South Louisiana, we grew up in a small. It was everybody was family, and I credit growing up in that community, which we don't have now. Everybody knew everybody in town. Now
I know we don't
know my neighbors' names. I don't. We don't know, so there's not a sense of community. So we're struggling. We have issues as to who can we go to talk to. So I'm happy I can share through BeConnectedLife.com and through .gale.com.
Yeah. No, those are very, very, very helpful information or useful resources, and has lots of good information that I know that I could still use, and all this, the trust and everything. I think that this is great. So what are the 3 lessons you think that our listeners could take away from today?
I always tell people, I was lucky when I grew up in the community. Find a role model that's 10 to 20 years older than you. The reason is people in your cohort, they're going through the same challenges and struggles you're going through.
Right.
And when you get together, you commiserate. So if you have someone 10 to 15, 20 years, they've gone through, they're still fresh enough. They're not your parents' age, because, what do we know? So if you get someone that's in between, they've gone through recently what you're going through, and they can give you some suggestions and advice on which way and how it's going to go. Because when we tell our kids, I know how it's going to go, they think it's going to be different for them. So find someone that can mentor you. You've got to have a mentor. You cannot do this alone. We've all gone through, I think I know everything.
Exactly. No, we don't. No one can ever say that. You do not know everything.
So find yourself a mentor. The second thing would be educate yourself financially and how to structure yourself financially in the correct tax position. You do not have to be just a W-2 wage earner filling out a 1040. Read The Creature from Jekyll Island. Look at what the Gates are doing, their foundation. Look at the Chase and Wells Fargo. For instance, for our listeners who are familiar with historically Black colleges, for instance, Spelman and Morehouse. I always thought that they were because of famous Black people, and that's what they were named after. They were named after Rockefeller. Spelman is named after Rockefeller's wife's family, and Morehouse was his business partner.
Wow. So
know our history and finances and how they used those monies and got a tax write-off to establish those universities. And that's the way Harvard was, Yale was. They were started as tax write-offs because people wanted to control the educational system. So understand the financial system. Understand where to put your $50. Understand where to put your $25. And that's why I'm trying to bring this to everyday people. I don't have $500,000 to take over to Harvard, but if I take my Dollar Tree money, I'm in the ballpark.
Yeah.
So that would be the next thing. Understand finances and start preparing for your future now.
Right. Definitely.
Take your $25 and buy a silver coin. Take $50 and buy a silver coin. Well, a gold. It used to be able to. You could buy gold last year for that, but now with the gold, it's almost $100 for a gram. But start somewhere. So those are the 3 tips. That I would a mentor, financial education, and start saving now.
Well, that's very nice. That's good information and very helpful tips. And I would definitely agree with you on, I just wanted to say with the mentor, because I was one of those people, I'm still young. I just turned 30 this year. So, I'm still considered a millennial. And, I was one of those people, and I think a lot of people my age between, 22 to 30 years old, we do think we know it all, and we think we don't need, older I don't want to say elder people, but I mean, but somebody who really, who knows and has gone through the walks of life and can kind of give you that, like, no, please don't make that step, or, oh, you should think about that before you make that purchase or whatever. I think I knew it all. And then when I started talking, to people like you, or just anyone that really was 15 to 20 years older than me, I'm like, I don't know what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? Like, I don't even know what I'm doing. Like, they know what they're doing. I don't know what I'm doing. So that I think that's very, very important, and definitely financials. I have with the past year myself, I'm looking into, how I structure my financials, where I'm putting my money, where I'm investing my money, where I'm not just spending it, blowing it on here and there. And that's very easy for us to do. So I think I think those are very, very important as well. Just getting a hold of your financials and budgeting, because budgeting is extremely important. And I don't think a lot of people do that at my age.
And we're not taught that. And that's deliberate. We're not taught in school. We're not taught finances and banking in school.
No, we're not.
When you go through our education, and we have direct quotes from people who said it. We're not going to educate them, because if they understood the banking system, that'd be a revolution tomorrow. It was deliberate. So you have to educate yourself. Yeah.
I know, it's actually kind of funny, because I think but I do also think as millennials, we're starting to notice, like what you're saying, we're starting to notice how the banking system is and how the government's operating the taxes and things like that. We're like, wait a second, we're starting to question everything. And you're like, oh, over here, guys, I know what you're talking about. Come talk to me.
Yeah.
So yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, Gail, I really appreciate you coming on today. I don't have any more questions for you unless there's something that you wanted to tell the audience. I will have your links both in the description and also on, the recorded audio. I'll have it in there too for people to connect with you as well.
I appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Look forward to hearing from everyone in the audience.
I know. Thank you, Gail, so much. I hope you have a good night.
Thank you. Stay safe.
You too.